Welcome back to Getting to Know, where we get to know more about the talent that make Barrie Wrestling so great. I'm Mike Jeffries, and joining me today is Anthony Musso. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, first question, where are you from? How long have you been wrestling?
From Buffalo, New York. I've been wrestling since 2018. Got my start in Buffalo, mostly working up in Buffalo and Canadian area. I also work in a bunch of different other areas in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, Ohio, all that.
Now, from Buffalo, you must be a diehard Bills fan, right?
Nope. As you can see, I'm a Giants fan. Got that from my dad. He's from Jersey, so.
Okay, well, that's fair. I'll allow that. And what first brought you to Barrie Wrestling?
What first brought me to Barrie Wrestling was Kevin Blackwood got me and a couple of other Buffalo guys booked on the pre-show back in 2019. But then it wasn't about until 2022 that I started coming a lot more regularly. And I think I've been on every show for the past year or two, so.
Actually, I was going through old footage on my computer from when I used to film stuff here, and I found, so it was you and Sebastian Braun against Downtown Kenny Brown and Dakota Orion.
Yep.
Little baby Musso in that matchup.
Yeah, I got her beat up in that match.
And that was, Downtown had a heck of a frog splash that you felt all of.
So first I was on, I don't even know who came first, but I was on top of Sebastian Braun, and one of them came down first.
It was Brown.
And I got sandwiched between two meaty men that day.
It was two meaty men slapping meat, and you were the bread in the middle.
I was the bread.
And then,
it's like a reverse sandwich.
So that was the return show for Daniel Garcia and Kevin Blackwood. That was their first time back in Barrie after the car accident. So the pressure behind that, like you're on the pre-show with those guys. Like, what was the feeling for you? Because you were still pretty new as well. Like, what was that feeling coming in that day?
Yeah, there's a big amount of pressure for a lot of Buffalo guys. Just to uphold, the standard that the original Buffalo brothers set, Puff, Garcia, Blackwood, Kevin Bennett. And you see that in me, Myung Jae Lee, Isaiah Prince, Hayden Backlund. We've got some new guys here, Ricky Roca and Braxton Billingsley. We all feel that pressure, and all it does is make us strive to be the best that we can be.
Yeah, Graps Anonymous has got a lot of guys, yeah. From that time, so you worked this pre-show tag match to then being, I joke about it being you were 1/4 of the tag team champions, the longest reigning 400 North tag team champions. Like, could you have kind of pictured that back then to what you became here for Barrie?
Yeah, I mean, I envisioned I was going to get the tag titles because I only tried to beat Puff and Pretty Ricky about 20 times. It had to have happened at some point. And then even technically it wasn't me that beat them. But yeah, I mean, yeah. But yeah, to say I expected to be what I am in Barrie today at any point really, I'd be lying, because not only am I, have I found a good amount of success here, but the way the fans have come around to me is not something that I'm used to. This is really the only place where the fans seem to have an appreciation for Anthony Musso.
Well, and like your big break was being the wedding singer.
Right.
And can you walk me through, because like Grizz, Kyle and Shiloh were the Giggle Girls at Canada Day, and I talked to Grizz about that earlier. They already kind of had their thing. And then was that just supposed to be a one-off for you as like the wedding singer?
Yeah, from what I understand, I was just brought in, to lighten up the party for Kyle Boone and Shiloh's wedding. And then Jesse V didn't seem to enjoy that I was doing that. Neither did Anton. He was the one who brought Jesse V out. So I got beat up for it, but I think, the royal family really appreciated the love that I was trying to spread for them. And that's why they brought me in, and I became a permanent member.
I will always love that you sang Love Stings, which is, of course, not originally from The Wedding Singer, but was it originally from The Wedding Singer, or was it a song that Adam Sandler covered for The Wedding Singer?
What are you talking about?
Love Stings.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, The Wedding Singer stole it from you.
What's The Wedding Singer?
Anyways, so that was your start with the royal family. And I mean, now of course your songs are big all over, like the Faroe Islands and
right.
Estonia, and your voice has won people over and really turned the lives around for all the royal family members. Myung Jae Lee is flipping us off behind the camera, who was too sick to do an interview today. So yeah, that really changed things. And then you got Clay Wilson fired, which was big, but like, again, pulling back the curtain a little bit here, so you started getting very organic babyface pops here. And like that's not you kind of anywhere.
No.
So why, like, how did you start feeling about that when that was happening?
Yeah, like I said, like that's not something that's happened anywhere else. Yeah, it was weird because I'm the character I am here is not something I ever thought I would be or what I thought I could make work. And it just kind of happened organically, and like I'm so appreciative of it because it's forced me to kind of come out of my comfort zone in a lot of ways. Like I've always wanted to just be heel, and like I enjoy getting booed and all of that, but it's also opened my eyes to be like, yeah, it's kind of fun getting cheered too, you know.
You doing the dead sprint to high five the fans around the wing while Grizz like looks at you disappointed is funny every single time.
Yeah, I need it. It helps me warm up before the match as well. So
get stretched out.
Yeah.
You and Grizz, as I just mentioned, like you guys became a tag team, and the chemistry, like that was something very special for you two as a team. When was there a moment when you were like, oh, this is something?
See, I think it was more I had to win Grizz over. I'm a very welcoming person. Grizz, on the other hand, he didn't like that I was, stealing Kyle Boone's affections from him. So he was a little bit butthurt when I joined the group. But yeah, I think just when you're teaming together every month, facing team after team, winning against team after team, that's gonna just forcefully be built together.
And I mean, it's probably not too many tag teams where you're the small guy in the
Yeah.
tag team. So like, does that change things a little bit for you?
Not too much, because it's more about the guys I'm across the ring with, and I'm in a weird spot where it's like I can walk out there and be a super heavyweight to some guy, or I can be a cruiserweight to another guy. So I'm kind of like right there, dead in the middle. So I kind of just adapt my style to whoever I'm working with in there.
And we mentioned Grapplers Anonymous earlier. So you talked about adapting style. So you trained with or by guys like Daniel Garcia, Kevin Blackwood. Was Blade and Butcher and Blade there as well?
Yeah, when I was there, it was Brandon Thurston, Mikey Every Night, and the Blade as well. Yeah.
And so how did that and the New York scene help prepare you for life on the Indies?
Yeah, I feel like at that time we had just the perfect trifecta of trainers. Mikey's a very charismatic person who helped share that with me. Brandon is technically a genius and just understood the business on a level that a lot of guys don't.
So he's also got the Wrestling Economics
yes, he does.
Twitter account, which is an incredible follow. So sorry, continue.
No problem. And then the Blade really was just helping guys put it all together, to become the wrestlers they wanted to be. And then of course, just the guys coming out of there at that time, the guys I mentioned before, it's kind of iron sharpens iron type of thing where it's you have to be better because you want to keep up with these guys and you want to stay on their level.
And I'm assuming you got hit pretty hard in training from time to time.
But I was also hitting people pretty hard.
That's part of the job, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you and Barrie have been part of some of the weirdest things, whether it's Wild Rovers matches, you were, involved in the tag team death match, the wedding. Aside from getting hit in the groin with a crock harder than any human has ever been hit by anything before, what is one moment that stands out to you?
Ooh.
Just one thing in Barrie that you're it's embedded in your brain.
It's maybe recency bias, but performing the national anthem before this year's Wild Rovers match, I kind of just offered to do it on a whim. We kind of talked about doing it because I've been in all three of the Wild Rovers matches, so we kind of jokingly talked about it the previous 2 years, and then this year I was just I'm going to do it this year. And, other than Grizz jumping down in the ring and kind of shaking me up at the end there, I thought it just went swimmingly. A couple other moments would be definitely, like you said earlier, beating Clay Wilson, because I feel like that was really the turnaround point for me here and what really got me over with the crowd here. And prior to that, what was the other one I was just thinking of? Oh, in the first Wild Rovers match, Bobby Orlando was holding out the soccer ball. I had requested to kick it, and as I went to kick it, he pulled it out from underneath me, and I had some traumatic flashbacks to my time as Charlie Brown in high school.
He Charlie Browned you?
He Charlie Browned me.
I was also going to point out when you were holding Puff for Stratos to kick the ball at Puff, and he somehow managed to miss that target
twice.
as hard as he possibly could.
It's not really a surprise to me that it ended up, when I finally won a Wild Rovers match, it was against Stratos.
Yeah, you two have been involved in all three of them.
All three, yeah.
Twice on the same team and then once on opposite teams.
Yep. And I've never been captain. Imagine that.
Captain Musso next year. Clearly.
Better be.
Yeah, I have to be. So, it might not be a fair, New York crowds versus Ontario crowds. Might not be a fair question, but is there a noticeable difference between how a crowd, aside from booing versus cheering you, that they respond to different things in any different ways, or is it kind of the same?
Honestly, it's more promotion to promotion rather than the areas, because there's some places I work in Ontario where it's they want to see fast-paced, like, skillful wrestling. And then here it's like the things that have gotten me most over with this crowd is being goofy and like sharing my character with them. And then like Buffalo's sometimes a toss-up. Like there's some guys that like really get over just being these great characters, and then there's like there I kind of take more of a in-ring approach to what I do, where I'm very hard-hitting, I'm very straightforward with what I'm doing in the ring, and it gets me some boos, but it gets the job done.
It get the W, right? The winner's purse is all that matters. And so last question about wrestling, kind of tag team versus singles. Do you have like a preference for one or the other, and like do you approach it differently based on what style of match it's going to be?
I definitely approach it differently. With tag teams, like I kind of know like I'm going to get those breaks on the apron, like I'm going to get those breaks when I'm not in the ring, so it's kind of like I can throw more at my opponents in those little spats that I'm in there. And I know I have the backup behind me to handle it, but I also know I have two people that I have to deal with now, and maybe two different styles, two different sizes of guys, so it's like really have to like adjust things for the tag matches, whereas with singles matches, and the reason I kind of prefer them personally is that it's just I'm going to come at you with what I have, and it's like it's either going to work or it's not, and that's I prefer the singles matches. I'm also a bit egotistical, even though I seem very humble to everybody.
Well, you're American, so that tracks.
That tracks.
And you're from New York.
Yeah.
That was a terrible New York accent.
See, I was actually born in Florida, which might be worse.
Okay, so I looked up something, I think like Cage Match or whatever has you as from Kissimmee,
which
Florida.
I just got my cage match made. I don't know how that works, but we just found out this week that I have one. But yeah, I was born in Kissimmee, Florida, about like a half hour from Disney World.
So when did your family moved the wrong way, right?
No. I despise Florida with everything in my being, and I love Buffalo, New York. No, we just came up here. My mom had family up here, so we ended up coming up here when I was like 3 years old. So I'm born in Florida, but raised Buffalo.
Okay. So you're acclimated to the cold now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I mean, the beard helps, right?
I don't know. Mine's pretty thin. I gotta thicken this boy out.
Well, by the time you get to my age, then you'll be able to grow a beard.
I'm also not a hot weather person. We went on a cruise with my family a few years ago, and it was just too much heat. I'm very pale. I absorb the sun like it's, I don't even know.
I reflect the sun. Ooh, getting a little, we're going to have to mark this one R-rated. Yeah. All right, so before this gets any further.
Sorry for the ad revenue.
So we're midway through 2025. One goal in the next 18 months. By the end of 2026, one goal for Anthony Musso.
My biggest goal in the next year and a half, I would say, is, every time I've been put in a position where I feel a bit uncomfortable because I'm going in there with guys that have more experience than me, I have not just risen to the occasion, but I feel surpassed it and proven that I belong in those likes of people. So I think that just over the next year and a half, just making that known to everybody, because a lot of those have happened in Buffalo. But I want to make that clear in Barrie. I want to make that clear in, the Midwest, the Northeast, wherever I'm working, that Anthony Musso is one of the highest level indie workers, and that he can hang with anybody in the ring.
And a heck of a singer.
I am.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much. All the best. Where can people find you on social media?
Social media, everything is Anthony Musso _. Keep it nice and easy. That's my Twitter. That's my Instagram. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also have a YouTube. I believe it's Anthony Musso Pro Wrestling. Posted some older matches on there. I try to get some up there as I can. So.
Well, you're featured on Rush Hour as well on YouTube.
I am.
So click around on here.
Go on Rush Hour. You'll find Anthony Musso.
A lot of you winning tag matches.
Yeah, there's also one you just posted where Young Jay Lee's choking me.
Yes.
What was that about?
I mean, we got to pick something for the thumbnail.
You could have picked one where I'm like beating him up.
I mean, if that had happened during that match, maybe I would have.
Wow, that's messed up. This interview's over.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. This has been Getting to Know. We'll see you again soon.